Hi, my name is Melissa McCooley, and the purpose of my project for Assignment 3, Part 2 is to determine the best way to how to teach teachers. With new mandates coming out each and every day, new policy to deliver to my staff, new assessments such as PARC, new instructional strategies to be learned for what's best for students, new technology that is coming out faster than we can learn it, new curriculum that is mandated from the state, and new expectations that have to be learned and accepted as a district, it is very difficult for me as a superintendent to best deliver instruction to my teachers in the most effective manner. For practical analysis, the challenge that arises is how to effectively communicate this information to my teachers with limited time. In general, teachers obtain their pedagogical knowledge by attending out-of-district workshops, watching webinars, working with each other in professional learning communities, taking graduate courses outside of the school day, or by visiting a master teacher's classroom. Some school districts have the luxury of providing their teachers with a teaching coach that is on staff full-time for those teachers in need. There are many challenges, however, to this practical analysis. For example, getting a substitute and creating lesson plans can be very cumbersome for the teacher. Many of them are deterred because they believe this is extra work and really do not want to take advantage of that type of opportunity. Watching webinars can be effective and working in professional learning communities. However, it is very difficult for the teachers to find the time in their very busy schedule to do such. Lastly, taking graduate courses is very beneficial to all teachers. However, this and hiring a teaching coach can be very costly and often not feasible in harsh economic times. In summary, the small amount of time that an administrator has with their staff must be utilized effectively. A study done by Margalis in 2009 found many ineffective ways that teachers are often taught, for example, at faculty meetings. First, there's too much talking done by the leader of the presentation. Teachers will often lose their attention while sitting there. Secondly, talking and asking, "Do you have any questions?" People will sit there and stare at the instructional leader and often not say much. They feel very disengaged with this type of instruction. Third, if too many things are presented at the same time, teachers often become disengaged and are not honing in on those items that are really important and meaningful. Teachers feel overloaded. Lastly, when the leader focuses only on their personal experiences or beliefs, teachers become disconnected with what they can actually apply in their own classrooms. This is very disengaging, and the focus is often lost. Looking at this from a theoretical lens, Sternberg and Spear-Swerling have offered some insight. What we have learned is the manner in which teachers are often instructed, for example at a faculty meeting, is lecture-based or what's called didactic strategy. This is referred to as material simply being presented with little interaction between the presenter and the participants. Working in numerous school districts, prior to being a superintendent, I can recall myself sitting in a faculty meeting and listening to someone talk and never recalling what they said because I had no interaction and no interest in the topic. And you can see from the picture below, this is often what a staff will look like at the end of a faculty meeting. So, what is suggested to help teachers be engaged and learn the most effective manner? Number one is a metacognitive activity. A metacognitive activity involves understanding and monitoring one's own thoughts and assumptions and the implications of their own behavior. And we get this from Lynn. Teachers would be thought to be metacognitive if they're engaged in some manner about thinking about themselves and how their own personal learning is taking place. Teacher training would include modeling, prompting, as well as creating a supportive environment if we were to follow metacognitive framework and activity. Modeling is the first that we are going to discuss. Modeling can be used as a strategy to show teachers effective instructional practices as opposed to standing in front of an audience and displaying a PowerPoint and talking to them. In this form of instruction, the instructional leader, in this case myself as the superintendent, would actually take them through the process of how they would implement Socratic circles in their own classrooms. You can see by the picture below, the teachers are participating in a Socratic circle as they are learning what it is and how to implement it with their students. They are not merely sitting and listening to me talk about what it is. They are actually participants in a Socratic circle to learn firsthand what it's about and the best way to introduce this to their students. The second way to effectively learn or teach is by prompting. Lynn explains that prompting is another way to teach metacognitive strategies. Using this strategy, prompt cards can be extremely effective and beneficial. These prompt cards are used to stimulate discussion and learning with a small group or in a large classroom. You can see by the examples presented, how can you tier this homework assignment? How do you approach this type of learner? These are fairly generic and can use with any grade level or any type of subject. This will stem discussion with the group you are trying to teach. Prompting stimulates conversation among the group as well as allows them to reflect on their own personal classroom practice. This type of engagement and dialogue stimulates the mind and offers peers a way to collaborate and to talk about what best works for them. Next, we are going to talk about critical and problem-based learning, otherwise known as PBL. In an attempt to teach teachers how to improve their craft, Ennis suggests using critical thinking as a reasonable and reflective tool to improve classroom practice. Ennis provides a detailed outline that serves as a set of comprehensive goals for critical thinking. Teachers in any grade level, curriculum sequence, teaching approach, or specific subject matter can use this type of outline. Utilizing a faculty meeting format, teachers can use critical thinking to improve their classroom practice in the following manner. Critical and PBL in action. Once again, using the faculty meeting format, the task of the teachers would be to look at recent assessment data of their students, find the most significant deficiencies, and then come up with a plan, including lessons, that would improve student achievement. Utilizing critical thinking provided by Ennis, teachers would develop the ability to discover and listen to one another, maintaining focus on the issue at hand, which in this case would be the deficiency that's found, taking into account the data based on student achievement, and then reflect on their own personal beliefs. Problem-based learning, otherwise known as PBL, is based on the design model to promote skills in critical analysis and self-directing learning. In a sense, it entails a problem-solving approach. Stages of the problem in PBL include problem identification, problem description, linking ideas or interpretation, applicability, and integration. Using this approach, teachers would have to justify their rationale for why students are not achieving and how to create a plan for improvement. Teachers would be asked to seek alternate hypotheses, explanations, conclusions, and a plan for improvement. Working in small groups, teachers would be required to seriously consider one another's point of views. The position that the group decides to take, in the end, must be justified by information that is available, such as the student data at hand, past practice, what has worked and what hasn't, and strategies that have been successful in the classroom. PBL, problem-based learning, can be used to improve writing instruction. Based on what we've already heard, if teachers determine that there is a deficiency in writing scores, as there currently is in my school district, PBL can be used by teachers to improve writing instruction. PBL is based on the design model to promote skills in critical analysis, is self-directed learning, and entails problem solving. An idea is presented to the group and then is open to discussion. Stages of this, as we can see in front of us, include problem identification, problem description, linking ideas or interpretation, applicability, and integration, and we will go through each one of these. First, problem identification. In this stage, teachers are reviewing writing pieces written by students and comparing them to a standardized rubric. Teachers would clarify what is expected of a good piece, such as what should an opening look like, what transitions should be utilized, what the content of a writing piece should look like, and the skills that are lacking overall for their students to achieve a higher score on a rubric. The group would also identify what they personally need to know to how to improve writing instruction in the classroom. Problem description. During this stage, the teachers discuss ambiguities or facts and push the limits. This is where teachers are very honest and open with one another about what they can and cannot do at this point regarding writing instruction. Next, problem exploration. This is where the group would synthesize by asking what they need to do next in regards to improving their instructional practice, and in turn help students improve writing in the classroom. Teachers would discuss what they've done so far, what they need to do differently, and why they believe what they have done so far has not worked. Next is applicability. Teachers are discussing practical utility or concerns about implementing the new strategies in the classroom. For example, should writing instruction be a longer period in the day than it currently is, or should it be taught more throughout the school week? Lastly is integration. The last step in this process is when teachers teach each other as they synthesize the learning issue, that being an application of the original problem. So what that means is during this stage, the teachers will reflect on their own behavior and willingness to try the new application for teaching writing in the classroom. The teachers at this point are building a rapport with one another in the group. They are listening attentively, and they may volunteer to help one another out. Clarification or questions about the learning will be addressed during this final stage. In essence, using problem-based learning, the teachers have taught themselves while working through the process of solving their original problem, which was how to better deliver writing instruction in classrooms. As the superintendent, I acted as more of a guide on the side than an active participant because I wanted the teachers to be responsible for their own learning. Learning through technology is also a beneficial way for teachers to learn new ideas and improve their pedagogy. As we can see, computer-supported learning is an environment that relies on collaboration through technology and the internet, and it is an effective means of learning for educators. Examples of this are PLCs, online, blogs, WebQuest, and Google Share. This type of learning is effective because it is convenient and based on the interaction and shared ideas of peers. For example, an online PLC that creates a blog to interact with one another can be used at the convenience of the teacher. If a 4th grade PLC is created district-wide, it is often that the teachers have different prep periods and may work different schedules. They can now participate when it is convenient for them to simply log into a computer. So, which theoretical framework has come from the ideas that were presented? Sternberg and Spear-Swerling in 1996 have presented a framework to help us understand teaching and thinking that is developed. The first part of this framework is to teach teachers to think critically and in an analytic manner. By thinking critically while processing new information, teachers are conceptualizing the material and not just hearing what is being said. And we talked about this earlier as not having a faculty meeting where an instructor just speaks to a group. The group is actually participating in the learning. The second part is to practice the new ways of thinking and learning. The teachers always need to be active participants in the learning process when new information is presented to them. The teachers should also be using this type of instruction with their own students. The third and most important part of the framework is to model how to be a critical thinker. As the superintendent of the school district and the instructional leader, I must model for my teachers effective ways to obtain new ideas. For example, being an active participant in a PLC with my teachers, or by running professional development workshops in the manner that their classrooms should be run. And we've reviewed many of these in this presentation. So, in conclusion, what I have gathered from my research on this topic is that it is essential as a district leader that I offer teachers the skills to be critical thinkers, work collaboratively with one another, and share ideas through the use of small group work as well as virtual learning. Modeling as the superintendent and instructional leader is an effective way to show my teachers how they can transfer the learning concepts used in our learning into their classroom with their students. The ultimate goal is not only to enhance learning for my teachers, but to enhance learning in classrooms. Thank you.